Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here at The Uncut. I'm your host, Trena Laine. As you know, this podcast is built around, the heavy topics that I always like to continue to talk about, whether it's like hustle culture, burnout. And my guest today is also a good friend who I'm going to introduce here shortly, but we were just like lightly joking that the world seems to be on fire right now. There's a lot of energy and things going on, and we're going to kind of, get into it, but welcome, my friend Krysta of Virtual Assistance YYC.
Hi.
Excited to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm just like thrilled because I just feel you're this beautiful human who
Oh,
also helps busy humans, right? Streamline their businesses, essentially taking over tasks that can feel overwhelming. And we'll dive into that.
mhm.
But a quick touch, I met Krysta through Instagram. She was following what would have been like my very recent grief journey. And I was asking the universe, I'm like, I need an assistant, I need help. In steps Krysta. And our first meeting, I think I just cried the entire time, but we bonded over just living and being a human being. And we've had a blast together since with like all our beauty boss master classes, creating together. And I'm very grateful that you're here. And this is also your first podcast.
First podcast ever. I edit them all the time, but I've never been on one.
So I'm excited. Happy I'm your first.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
But this is great. But you know what, Krista, why don't you give us a little background, a little mini intro as to who you are and what brought you to here? That would be great.
Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like the last 3, 4 years of my life have been a whirlwind. I'm a busy mom. I have four kiddos, all under the age of 10. My oldest is 10, my youngest is 4. So we're very busy. We got sports, we got running all over the place. Yeah, it's crazy. And I'm sure all you moms out there can relate. My husband, we used to work out of town, so he moved back in with us, I guess you could say, so that we could all be as a family. So that's a big help. But after that happened, I decided that I wanted to go back to work. I used to work in the dental industry, so I'm very much a people person. And I knew that I just couldn't go back to that. So I looked into what a virtual assistant does, and my life has just exploded because of it. And I'm extremely grateful. I
Oh,
purchased
uh,
Virtual Assistant YYC 3 years ago, and it's my pride and joy. I love it so much, and I love the clients who come through. Trina, especially, one of my absolute favorites.
oh,
Uh,
thank you.
Meeting Trina was one of the most impactful moments I feel in my career. I'm very much you're supposed to meet who you're supposed to meet kind of a person.
Mm.
And people come into your lives when they're supposed to. And this was you're one of the people, Trina. And I'm just ever so grateful for it. As for my business, I help busy moms, plain and simple. The busy mom who wants to be an entrepreneur and have it all, but just can't seem to find time in their busy day with their business and their kids and everything else that you have on the go. So I take the small tasks that are kind of stuck in the back of your brain that are weighing you down and feeling extreme. And I take those off your plate, do them for you, and you can get back to your life. You can get back to your business and dreaming the big dream.
Oh, I love that. Creating that simplicity. And I'll just pipe in there like that's what you helped with me. Because I
Mhm.
knew easing back into work following Aaron's passing, I was like, I can't do it all.
No,
I can't shoulder it all. And even for myself, and you probably have had other clients who've experienced different trauma, different difficulties, like life's throwing you challenges left, right, and center.
hmm
They could probably attest to the same thing. Your energy is not the same.
no.
And this is where I was like, moving forward, I need to create something that's also going to be different
hmm
and create something that's sustainable. And
hmm
you just nailed it right on the head by saying the word busy, which is this is kind of what this episode is about, is that everyone is, and I put this in quote unquote, busy productivity, but where do we really want to invest and spend our time? And before we hit record, Chris and I were just touching on becoming a leader for yourself is also understanding where your energy needs to be. That's like step number one, like, right. And just even in your personal life, because when you kind of find that, then it will help the career, but being constructive with our time, maybe share. because even just your side and then what you have found with your clients, I think that would be great.
Yeah, I definitely in the very beginning of my virtual assistant journey, I felt like I needed to do it all, take it all, be it all. And I would say the first year was wild of just trying to figure out, okay, I want to build this business. I want to build it so that it's bigger and can sustain itself. And I felt like I was starting to burn myself out. And as more clients started coming in, I very quickly realized who I wanted to work for. So I would
Mm,
say that was one of the biggest things is to managing and structuring my life is figure out who you want to work for, who you want to
mhm.
work with, right? You have the bad apples that come in and that weighs you down. That makes you feel like you're gonna drown, right?
100%.
So get rid of those bad apples, stop the drowning,
Yep.
feel
Yeah,
better.
you don't need everybody. You just need the
No.
few quality that make life somewhat relatively easy.
Yes, exactly. And so I did that and I started to feel myself calm down and create new structures within my own business of bringing in new people and what tasks I enjoy doing. Because that's the other thing is some people feel like a VA is supposed to do it all and be it all for you. Yes, that can be the case, but there's things that I like to do and there's things that drown me again. That so
100%.
you have to decide what you truly want to do and the people will come to you. It's I
Oh,
feel like it's like that in every business, every small
yes.
business.
Every industry. Yeah.
Yeah, figure out
Totally.
who you want to work with, who you want to be as well, and the people will come to you. There's so
Oh,
many people in the world, and those people will find you. I had to learn that the hard way. Is it's not like the 25 people who message me in a month wanting to work with me are the people that I want to work with. There's
yeah.
going to be more. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm loving this already. And I knew this would be our topic because this isn't the first time we've had these conversations.
Yes.
But even too, I just did this in a workshop last week with beauty entrepreneurs who are just kind of entering the industry, like over the next chunk of time once they get their training and certificates and all that fun stuff.
Mhm.
And I said, I'm like, I can tell you how to create a six-figure business doing it the wrong way, and
Oh,
it's not sustainable.
yeah.
Right. And that's kind of boils down to the same question. Who do you want to work with? How do you want to spend your time?
Mhm.
But I'm like, or maybe you can find peace and make 5K and have a few people help you out.
Yeah.
Like you just, yeah, as you just said, it's just creating this like time, I don't want to say time warp, but like how can we kind of like maximize our time, but also enjoy the time we have? Because I think a lot of times too, we're conditioned in thinking, I have to do all these tasks, I have to do all these things, but are they enjoyable?
Yeah.
Maybe that's where you need to relieve and have someone like you, like Krysta, step in to help out with stuff, right? Like that was me too. And I still struggle from time to time being like, oh, I can do it all. But then I was like, no, there's a reason why you pay people, Trina. Like, back the fuck off and let people do their thing for you, right? Like, there's that
Isn't
balance.
that the truth? Yes, everyone should have that mindset.
Hire the right people. And it's
Yep.
also just being honest with yourself too. You look, it's not always necessarily about being busy either. Like maybe your business is just in a flux where it needs to be. Like your personal life too can be a reflection of that,
Mhm.
and understanding the energy we want to invest in ourselves.
Yep.
Some days will show up 100%. Some days might be 10%. Some days might
Mhm.
be
Yeah.
1%.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear from your perspective because you deal with all the different personalities, all the different flavors.
Mhm.
There's just so much color in your world when you're dealing with all different types of business owners, but maybe share on the some days where you feel you have to be a little honest with your clients to be like, listen, you're next on my list, how you
Yeah.
kind of work within that.
Yeah, I would say that boils all the way down to just boundaries. You have to
Mm,
have your boundaries. I love the client roster I have right now is probably A1. I've nailed it down. They're fantastic. They respect my time.
mm,
They realize that I'm going to have kids at home sick. I'm going to have these days where I am just mentally drained and I am not in it and they respect that. had some clients in the past where they don't respect that. And those are the ones that I'm like, okay, I can't, because then yeah, I feel like I have this pull from my family to my business where I know that my family always and will always come first. But then you feel this pull from your business and you got your phone going off and you got these emails coming in and stuff. Like I've had to set some really hard boundaries for just running my business. I have clients who know that summer's coming. That is the time when all four of my kids are home. They are wild. They want to go swimming. They want to be outside. They want to ride the dirt bikes. They want, like that. And my husband works out of the house, so he's gone. So that falls on me. So I've had clients come to me and they're like, okay, let's dial it back. Let's have summer be free, and then we'll ramp back up in September. That is just setting those boundaries feels tough in the beginning. It feels almost cringe where you're like, oh, I have to set
Mhm.
rules for these other people, but then they start to respect you. I've quit answering my chats and my texts and my emails after hours. I've quit doing things on the weekends,
Mhm.
unless it's absolutely necessary. But my clients know that because my kids would suffer. They'd be dirty and hungry running all over the countryside. So
And they'd be like, whose children is this?
yeah, what are these rogue children doing running around? So yeah, I would have to say it has to boil down to boundaries. Know your boundaries. Every
Yes.
industry has to have the boundaries. You don't have the boutique shop owner working until 12 o'clock at night,
No.
right? They shut down, they close, they go home. Do you
Well,
go
hopefully
to
they
your
do.
well, but they go home. They go to something else. And in my line of work, that's where the boundaries have to come in huge because I'm currently looking at my living room and my kitchen from my office. I don't
Yeah,
have the luxury of walking away from work. It's literally right here in my home. So boundaries are key, 100%.
I love it. And then that's just like the personal responsibility side,
Hmm.
right? Understanding what you need first, what your life needs first, and then you build that career around it, which I think is great because even too, rest days are crucial.
Yeah.
And as you just said, oh, having that like honesty, transparency, and open communication. Like I know I've done this before, and even with you, I'll send a text where I'm like, no rush,
Yeah.
but just a heads up, and whenever you get a second.
Yep. And I
I
appreciate
think
that
it's
so
something
much.
to even like, approaching someone like in a more gentler way. Because
Mhm.
I also said this, and I know you and I've talked about this in master classes together. We're not an ER
No.
unless it's like, like today, Google not working in our behalf.
Yeah.
Then it becomes a little bit of an urgency. We got to find a solution like right now to record a podcast, which I feel like every podcast I've been recording, there's been some kind of tech issue. And I'm like, hey, what's that about?
No,
you
no,
know?
don't stop your podcast. We love them.
But I just think personal responsibility. I remember sitting in on a panel, this is like over 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And it was talking about how we built our careers from zero to success in like a short amount of time.
Mhm.
That would be the beginning of what I also didn't understand about hustle culture, but yet I was already experiencing burnout then.
Yep. Yep.
Right. So that's why I was like the six figures, I can tell you how to build it wrong.
Hmm.
Right. And then there's the other side. But I just remember me saying something about like, even though you work at home and you work for yourself, you need to have hours of operation.
Hmm. Yep.
It is mandatory. And then the guy next to me, an industry colleague, he actually got up and he was like, I will disagree with Trena on this. And he like kind of spouted through blah, blah, blah. Like, you should be available. You got to take every client. You might like miss out on an opportunity. And I was like, oh, fuck that. I
Yep.
don't think you miss out on anything. I think you just become eager beaver.
Hmm.
That's how you end up exhausted.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
think I ran into him like a few years ago, just like following the pandemic. And he's just like, yeah, we're making some changes because he's like, I've been feeling exhausted. And I was like,
Weird.
"Mhm. Yeah, well, I heard you speak 10 years ago, so I wonder why."
Yeah. Yeah. How's your stress level?
Yeah,
How's your
right.
heart?
I'm like, well, at least
Thank goodness.
include it now before things get worse, right? Oh, my word.
Some people.
Oh, but
Oh.
talk to me about like rest days and the things you do for fun because you have you, which is
Hmm.
priority,
Hmm.
kids, and you
Hmm.
also have a husband.
Hmm.
Share a few little nuggets in there.
Oh gosh. Well, I am proud to say I just came back from my first girls trip ever. An out of country girls trip, not just like a weekend little getaway. So I have to say that that was one of the hardest things that I have done recently is just the structuring and figuring out of my business life and my home life to make
Mhm.
that happen. It was very stressful until the moment my butt was in the car to go to the airport. So I, with four kids and them all being young, I don't have a whole lot of rest days where I'm like escaping and going out. My rest days look like not opening my laptop until noon.
I resonate.
I do currently have some clients who are a little bit more time sensitive, but I'll do those and then I'll shut my computer. I make sure I go outside with my kids. Like my kids are, I have three boys and a girl, and my boys, they love being outside. We live on an acreage, so there's all the room. We got the chickens and the garden and all the things. So just making sure I get outside is also key. My husband, he's very busy with his job too. But we've been trying to escape, especially in 2025. We're like, okay, let's go on more dates. Let's try and just reconnect as him and I, because when he was working away and he wasn't directly living in our home because he was gone so much, that was hard. We would try and reconnect, but we were on two different levels. I was in mom mode, he was in work mode, even on days off, right? And now it's like, okay, we need to just get back to us. We're not having any more kids, so we're not going back to that newborn, like very tired phase. Our kids are getting older, they're good with a babysitter. Let's try and live our lives. So I would say I look more for like not everyday rest days, but just realizing when I'm tired, I have to step out. And my husband, he realizes that too. He's very good about like calming me down. If I'm in a trance and I'm stressed out with work, he's like, your work's not gonna die. It's not gonna leave. Just take your day. So I think it's just figuring out how you feel in that moment.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm still exhausted from my girls' trip, so I'm just trying to ease back into it and get myself all situated. But other than that, like, yeah, just feel it day by day.
You know what? I think there's a different type of exhaustion,
Mhm.
burnout versus played out.
Oh yeah,
You just went and played your heart out on a girls' trip,
yeah, exactly.
right? So, but you're
Oh,
feeling thriving. Yeah, your heart is full, right? You're
yeah,
like spooning.
yeah.
Whereas if it's just this constant like work mode, and as you just said, not taking that time to be like, today is a day where I don't open up my laptop till such a time.
Hmm.
And if you don't honor that,
Hmm.
then it's like the exhaustion from burnout. And
Yeah,
then the body, like starts to obviously send some signals and this and that too,
yeah.
which I imagine you probably had because I know we talk about hustle culture and burnout lots in this podcast.
Hmm.
So when you were dealing with bad apples
Mm.
and different people of sorts, feeling like you had to be available like 24/7 to answer texts, calls, messages, whatever it would be,
Yeah.
what was your body feeling in certain moments, like physically?
Oh gosh, I would turn into a monster, to be completely honest with you. I was extremely short with my kids, short with my husband. Not, I wasn't able to be present in my personal life, which having young kids is really hard, and it's hard on them because they want you to sit on the floor and play. They want you to be happy. And it's hard for me even still. My daughter is very in tune with my feelings, which I absolutely love, but she
She's
on
also female.
yeah,
To forever, she's also female.
yes.
That just
She'll
comes naturally by the age of 5.
yeah, right. She on days where maybe I don't realize that I'm like on the burnout train and I'm just tired and I need to step away from work, she will literally come and ask me, "Mommy, why aren't you happy? Why aren't you happy today?" And it like crumbles me on the inside. And I'm like, Kate, this is my sign. I'm turning into that monster I don't want to be. So that all boils back down to the boundaries thing. Like I gotta just tone it back for a second, take my breath, go outside, be with her, be with my boys, be with my husband, and breathe. And then feel like I could come back. And you know what? It's very reflective in the work that I do. When I'm burnt out and I'm exhausted from work and I feel like there's 1,000 texts coming in and I'm like go, go, go all the time, my work quality goes way down.
Oh, for
And so
sure.
that's, long term going to affect the people that I bring in because they're going to be like, well, she's flopping on some things. Maybe we don't want to work with her. So if I just take that 5, 10 minutes a day, whatever it may be, take that time for myself just to breathe, my work is still there and it's going to be better.
The world's not burning. Like, and that's
Literally,
just
it's
it.
not.
Yeah, right. Unless you let it. But I just think it's very crucial, especially as creatives too. Like we need to have those mental breaks. Like it's actually needed. And that's me too. If I suddenly feel like I'm sitting here trying to do some stuff and I'm like, I don't want to say numb, but my performance level is just like I'm not fully understanding. Like I feel like I'm like this.
Yeah, you're
Like
blind.
who put on the visor? Like what is this?
Yeah.
Right. And then that's usually my sign. Or technology is telling me,
Yeah.
hey, hang it up. I'm not
Yeah.
working for you anymore. That's
You've
usually
burnt
kind
us
of my
out.
go-to. I'm like, okay, even my computer's like, I've had enough. I'm burning up.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
also that difference. And it's interesting that you said the word monster. I felt like I just threw that in a post I just shared the other day where even going to a networking event,
Hmm.
I went out to a media festival and everybody thought I was pitching my book, right? Because as you know, like I've always
Hmm.
been kind of thinking about a film adaptation for Dear Aaron, but everybody thought I was pitching like I had this aggressive agenda. And I was like, actually, no, this is probably the first network meeting that I'm going to since Aaron has passed,
Hmm.
where I don't need to be a monster and have this aggressive like
Yeah.
play at
Yeah.
hand. I was like, there's something about just tending something or
Hmm.
coming to your work when you feel like you have an open heart and you
Hmm.
can actually have conversations and be present,
Yeah.
not running around like a mad person.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I feel like people who say that to you that you're just pitching your book is quite insensitive on my part because I've been here since the beginning. I see the heart and soul that is going into everything that you do, and it's not out of wanting to be this big fancy name. It's literally coming out of a heart of wanting to help people so that they don't burn out and they
Thank
don't
you for saying
have
that.
those struggles, right? That's how I feel, and I want
Yeah.
everyone to know it. I want the
Let's
whole
just have a conversation and open it up a little bit. So I appreciate you saying that, love, because there's some interesting things that people will still say to me. And I'm like,
Mhm.
but I also have to remind myself people are conditioned to only think one way,
Yeah.
right? Because that's how we've all been.
Hmm.
Unless you get the opportunity and the gift like a few of us have had. I mean, my gift came unexpectedly,
Yeah.
but I was already there before Aaron passed. But that was like for me too, where I was like, I can't go back to like how things were in 2019.
No.
Like I was barely surviving and I just didn't know who I was. And I feel like I'm kind of like that right now, but I think it could just be because we've had a lot of forest fire smoke and I feel like I can't get outside
Yeah,
as
right.
much as I want to these last couple of days, right? So that also impacts your mental health too, right? When things are a little wonky. But,
Yeah.
I think it's great that you take the thing, you take high consideration for family first,
Mm.
what fuels the soul, what nurtures on the inside, and that's what's great, and how you support and also work with entrepreneurs. You just said you're very selective with and being honest with like I can help you with this, but it's also you look at it a way too, like I do. We collaborate and we
Right.
want to
Right.
make something better together, right?
Right.
So,
Exactly.
but I think it's crucial more than ever today. Everyone's experiencing a different type of grief,
Hmm. Very much so.
like there's just a lot there. But I guess offer some tips as because that's the thing too, going back to being conditioned, thinking that we always have to be busy. And that's what contributes to our productivity, which is not. Sometimes it's the other and it's the opposite.
Hmm.
But what's like some sound advice you have done for like certain clients? Like, have you had some recent clients who are probably coming to you with being like, I think I need help here, here, and here, but I'm
Hmm.
not really sure. Like, how do you kind of, I guess, navigate that to create a, starting point?
Yeah, when I first bring in clients, it usually is a bit of a scramble. Some people are a little bit more urgent than others, and that is where my discovery call questionnaire comes in. I make them list their goals, their 3-month goals for their business and what they're looking for as in growth wise. So I dive into that with them. And a lot of people, when they come in, they have a list, like a 10 bulleted list of all the things they want me to take on. So my boundaries tell me take on what I want, what I am good at. And I'm very honest in my discovery calls. I tell them I am not a graphic designer. I am not a do-all kind of person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that will narrow some of it down. And then I make sure that they kind of think about alongside their goals, what goals kind of coincide with their tasks. So then we come up with a plan from there. And usually it's about 3 to 4 tasks right off the hop because I want to make sure that they understand that it is very much a learning curve working together. I am not a mind reader. I don't know exactly how your business goes.
What? Wait. No,
I
I'm just
know,
kidding.
weird. Weird. I'm just supposed to dive in and know everything.
Got
No. So it's really diving into their goals and their task list and taking on what I can do. So I think entrepreneurs, any entrepreneur, have your core goals and delegate from there. Don't
it.
don't look at your computer and see 1,000 notifications over here, 1,000 over here, and be like, I need somebody to come in. No, think about what your goals are. If your goals are the whole email marketing and your inbox is huge with emails and people to respond to, okay, that's a goal. You want to slim down your inbox, you want to get some newsletters out. Task one, right there. I love doing that kind of stuff. I have a client who I just go in twice a day and I delete all her spam. That's literally all I do for her. And she is so grateful because she doesn't have to look at it. She doesn't have to see the stuff that she's CC'd on, but it doesn't pertain to her. So there's a goal right there. When it comes to social media stuff, a lot of people have graphics and things I can pull from, and I'm really grateful for that kind of stuff. Starting from scratch stresses me out, but when I have things to work off of, I'm golden. So if they feel like they want to have those 2 to 3 posts a week and they want to put out, stories and that kind of stuff, but they just see all the different platforms. Well, let's condense it. Let's put it into a program that can manage it all. Let's get them scheduled, done. Right? Like it's looking at your goals and figuring out what tasks can come from those, not feeling like everything is just a whirlwind and you just need to pawn it all off on somebody else.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. And I think that's just not even like a good collaboration anyways. Like I
No.
think back to like originally when you and I first met, I was actually pretty particular with like actually what I needed.
Yep.
But
And
I think that just comes
that.
also too from being intuitive, knowing my strengths and my weaknesses. And
Yes.
there's no shame in
Mm-mm.
knowing what your weaknesses are to say, that's probably where I need help.
Yeah.
Right. Again, it's
Yeah.
like that personal responsibility, being that leadership in your own life to say, this is where I need help. Like I'm doing that actually right now. I'm hiring another fitness trainer, a nutritionist for the next 8 months. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have some goals and stuff too, but I'm also in a different place now in my I don't even want to call it post grief journey, but it's just a different phase of
Mm-hmm.
my life. And I'm in the same boat where I'm like, I'm tired of looking at my fridge right now and being like,
I don't know.
I want to switch it up. And
Yeah.
I think when, again, like just understanding where your weaknesses are doesn't make you
No.
essentially weak. It's just
No.
knowing that you need help, right? You
Uh,
need someone to help you and nudge. And I loved how you just like outlined the simple things that also eliminate and help with anxiety.
yeah.
Because I know what that feels like too. Like before, well, 2024 would be the last wedding season following 16 years. And I just had someone ask me not too long ago, why don't you do weddings anymore? Like I thought that was a good money maker. I'm like, yeah, but there's a difference between a money maker and some extreme anxiety.
Yeah.
Again, choosing what's really the best. Do I still serve that for the next like what 6 months? But I'm still kind of in that same like sticky spot of like I don't feel well, I feel burnt out, I have a level of anxiety I can't even explain it. I got to the point just even to go in to log in,
Mm.
like password. all of a sudden I was like shaky. And that was like, I can't do this anymore. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful for all the clients. 16 years in the wedding industry is like amazing.
Amazing.
But you just boil down to things start to change after a while. And it's
Yeah.
just recognizing what does that person need. And
Yeah.
I think you nailed a lot of like good, like you highlight a lot of good nuggets in like this episode because I just feel like that's a lot of takeaways for someone who's maybe just starting out as a busy entrepreneur
Hmm.
or has been in the game for a while and they're feeling the burnout.
Yeah.
Like really, like you have like a nice gray area. So
Thank you.
I think this was great, babe. I'm so happy you jumped on with me today.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is great. I want to help people and I want to help people in not just the VA world, in any world. I'm a
And I
helper. So,
think that's why you and I
you.
get along.
Yeah.
It's like where we can help and serve, but we're also serving ourselves. And I feel like that's like the best of both worlds, to be honest. And for those of you listening, thanks for being here. All of Krista's links will be down at the bottom below, so you can go check it out. And I'll just put that nudge in there. If you need a virtual assistant, please do reach out to Krysta at.
Love it.
She's the best. We've done a lot of cool stuff together and more to come. But
Hmm.
thanks for being here. I really appreciate this.
Thank
This
you.
is so good. And thanks to all of you. Continue to walk in good faith and have a great rest of the day.
See you later.